G'day everyone, Kate Fantanell or Lady Liberty Australia here. Hopefully you would have seen my post yesterday about this and I promised a video, so here it is. Because the Western Australian Parliament has sent the gun laws to a review committee in the Legislative Council, this news of course came out earlier this week when the Honourable Nick Garran from the Liberal Party successfully secured that motion with the support of our friends in the Greens Party, along with the work of Dr. Brian Walker from the Legalised Cannabis Party. So, because the Parliament has agreed that these laws need to be sent to a committee to be reviewed, my lawyers have sent another official legal letter to the police commissioner, which also goes across the desk of the police minister. I'll just bring it up on the screen now for proof. So, this letter my lawyers sent yesterday, 30th of May, in relation to the Firearms Act and regulations being sent to a review. And as you can see, we have specifically requested for an administrative moratorium pending the result of this review. So, what that means in legal terms is because the Parliament has agreed that there are issues with the laws, we are saying you cannot take action against we the people until the Parliament has reviewed the laws and have determined what the issues are, how they're going to fix them. We know there are a lot of issues with the new laws. So this is a stopgap. Please do not prosecute us under the laws that are now under review. The letter also, I'll just bring it up on my screen because I've been told not to share everything. This, of course, is information that we're sending to the government. So there are a few things in here that I need to keep close to my chest. So I'm just reading off of my screen because I've boomed the printer. I can't print a PDF. So in the letter, my legal team, and this letter was approved by the King's Council too, they've said very clearly that because the laws are under review, a moratorium on things not limited to but including investigations, license suspensions, revocations, or prosecutions pending the outcome of the review. So, this is what my legal team have done. Of course, this is something that I have funded with the legal action money. Now, because I'll just bring this up on screen as well, this is the terms of reference for that parliamentary review. Now, hopefully, you've seen the video that I put out specifically about the review. That's on my channel, Shooting the Breeze with Lady Liberty, if you haven't seen it yet. The committee is specifically looking at fundamental legislative principles, the implementation and operation of the legislation, and any amendments that they will need to make to the laws. So, I spoke to the legal team last night, or it was Friday morning, your time, and the King's Council has said that this review is a game changer. So I was actually due to get that written letter of opinion. That was the piece of work I set out to get at the beginning of this campaign. That was due to be given to me yesterday, but because this review has now passed Parliament, the KC is looking at his advice and he has to go back and change a few things. So that's where we're at with that. Now, because of the review, it is a moving beast. We remember that the compensation scheme was reopened after we got a new minister. So things are changing very quickly on the ground in Western Australia. But we've sent this legal letter to put them on notice again, formally on notice, and we will be issuing proceedings if something is to happen while the Parliament is going about their business, reviewing the laws that we're also unhappy with. I did have quite an extensive conversation with my legal team. The King's Council's written letter of opinion has identified good grounds for multiple cases and challenging things as test cases. And we already have litigants lined up for that. My lawyer is also seeing people in the next few weeks about other issues that we're having with the laws. So we are getting ready for court action if need be. And I have had conversations with the legal team about funding those cases, the ones with the good chance of winning with strong evidence, strong litigants. So that's what we're doing in the meantime. But this letter that we sent, I'll just bring it up on the screen again yesterday, is very important because we are saying to the government, your parliament agrees there are issues with the law, legal issues with the law too. Therefore, even though they are in effect, we are asking that you do not take any action against we the people during this time. The other point that I would like to make is I had quite a long discussion again with my friends in the legal society back in Perth, and they have pointed out to me that Australian firearm owners across the nation should be following this case, and especially the legal action that we are taking, because anything we do take to court, any laws that do get changed in the meantime because of the pressure that we the people have put this government under because of the legal action campaign, I cannot stress this enough. We have moved the needle towards what we want. We have made them listen. We have forced them to review the laws. This was unheard of before the state election and before I started this legal action campaign. So I just want to make that very clear. This is what we have achieved. The lawyers did say that Australian firearm owners should be looking at what we're doing in WA very closely because it will set a precedent that other courts across the nation will look at if similar laws are brought in your state. So it's very important what we are doing in Western Australia with this legal action campaign. And it would not have been possible without you, the people, supporting me, trusting me, and letting me lead this fight. So this is where we're at. I know I had a very pressing issue that I raised with the lawyers yesterday, and that was about the gun limits. And this is the thing that I'm still waiting to get the official advice from the King's Council about. This is where the conversation in relation to class action came about to begin with, because as we know, we have not been offered proper compensation for the loss of our private property. So that's something we are still looking at very closely. And the other thing is, if the government does have the power to set limits on the number of private property we the people can own, this is a line in the sand. Is this the Australia we want to live in, where the government can decide how many items of any property, might not be firearms, it might translate across to cars? So this is something that I am still very focused on, finding out the legal position on the limits of firearms we can own. I'm waiting for the advice on that. We are still looking at compensation, proper compensation for those of us who had to participate in that scheme. And of course, that scheme is still open until January next year. That is something that the legal team managed to convince the government that they needed to do that. So I'm still waiting on the advice on that. We are also looking at if the state can limit the number of hunters and volunteer shooters we can have on our own property. Of course, there are limits now on how many people we can have. Is that fair and reasonable? That's also something we are looking at challenging if need be. So, in the meantime, as I said in my video the other day about this review, the terms of reference are out there. I compiled that based on the Hansard because there were changes, amendments to the original terms of reference that the Honourable Nick Garan put up. The Honourable Brad Pettit put in his amendments in Section C specifically. So what I'm showing you is the official terms of reference. Once that review gets underway, there will be a call for submissions, and that is the time when I would hope we would see 90,000 people writing in to this very important review. So in the meantime, as I said, my King's Counsel is going back and working on his written letter of opinion based on the events of this week. He has been, and I must pass this across to the people, he has been very apologetic about the timeline and just how long it's taken. As I said, and as everyone has pointed out, even in the Parliament this week, it is the biggest laws on the books in Western Australia with multitude of issues. That is also why it has taken so long. So has been very apologetic. He is committed to us, and my legal team as well want to see this through. This is very important. This will shape the future of gun ownership across Australia, not just Western Australia. I want to make that very clear what we are doing here. And of course, once again, this would not have been possible. We would not have been in a position to have lawyers on call sending these important letters, serving the government with legal letters, if it wasn't for you supporting this legal action campaign. I know it was a risk. It has definitely been a risk for me personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, all of that as well. But this would not have been possible. We would not be in this position today if it wasn't for the campaign and the support that you have given me and continue to give me. So, as I said, that letter has gone to the police commissioner. The police minister will, of course, see it too. We will await what they do next. We will await the official announcement of the review and when we can put in our submissions. So that is where we're at the moment. Just wanted to do a video to let everybody know exactly what the legal action campaign is doing for you. So thank you for watching. Happy WA Day for Monday to my friends back in Western Australia. I wish I was there celebrating with you. I'll have to try and find some Western Australian wine here, and cheers to you. And thank you again for supporting me and supporting this important fight. As I said in my bit of emotional post last night, my time, you have to be prepared to be crucified when you fight for gun rights in Australia. I feel I have been crucified by the media there and some people in the shooting organizations who don't like not having the monopoly in that space anymore. But I've always, as I said from the beginning, whenever I see injustices against my community, I flash back to 1996 and remember what the government did to my dad. And my motivation has always been to be a servant to the people and fight when I can. And I will continue to do that regardless of what is said about me. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I hopefully will have that letter of opinion very, very soon now. As I said, apologies for taking so long. Things change very quickly in this space. And rest assured, I will be ready to go once we get the advice. So thank you. Happy WA Day. And I will be back with another update as soon as I can.